Hello, this is the Golden Ribbon, welcoming you to another tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at the colored light bulb infographic. Okay, this is a flat design, so we're going to just move right into it. We have our canvas size is 1710 pixels by 1710. It's a white canvas, so I put a border around the canvas so that you can distinguish it from the rest of the page. Okay then. We're going straight into it. First, we're going to create a circle and a rectangle. Okay, my circle's coming in. It doesn't seem to have a color. Let me just check that. And the alpha's up. Yes, it is. Let's bring this up. Okay. I mean, often if you can't see a circle, sometimes it's taking a preset from the last time you used Inkscape, so you should just check to see if the alpha is up. That's usually the first thing I do. Okay, so we have it up here. I'm going to get rid of the stroke. Move the stroke. X this out. This is my circle. Carry it down somewhat. Okay, next I'm going to create my rectangle. I want these two to be aligned together, so selection area is okay, and just align them. Good, center them. Okay, and we want it so that it has the resemblance of a bulb. Now I know it may be hard to see because it doesn't quite take on the shape of a bulb just yet, but you try your best to see if you can get it to look like a bulb as best you can using your foresight. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is round the circles of this rectangle. Let me just put in a different color so that you can see what's happening. I'm going to select this circle node, hold Control and Shift on my left mouse button and drag down so I get an equal rounding. This looks good. Right. Change it back to the color so that we can see how it's looking. I'm just going to check to make sure this is centered. Yes, this is centered. Okay, carry it down somewhat. Okay, next we're going to join these two together. So I'm going to select this, hold Shift, left click on the circle, hold Control and Shift, and the plus sign will join them together, which is the same thing as going to path and union. So now we've unified these two together. We're going to add two more circles. Hold Control and Shift to make sure the circles are of proportionate width and height. Let's put them in a different color so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so basically we're going to size this circle as best we can. I think this is a good size. Duplicate it, and we're going to put it on either side of the rectangle. Alright, awesome. Then I'm going to create with my Bezier tool a path that joins or that cuts the circles where it touches a unified shape. So right here as best I can, and then I'm going to put it right here because that's where it touches the shape, and create. Then I'm going to press S, hold Shift, select our unified shape, and press Control Shift and plus to unify it with the new shape. Then I'm going to do the same thing for this one on this side. Select it where they touch. Good. Hold down Shift, select the new shape, and where we have the unified shape. Good. Just gonna zoom in here to make sure that it's as close as possible, and this does matter. You can hold Alt while pressing up, and that will shift the circle up by smaller increments. Moving here now, shift up, holding Alt, smaller increments, scroll out now. Okay. Right, next I'm going to select this circle, select the unified shape, hold Control Shift and minus sign, and that's the same thing as going to path and difference. I'm going to do the same with this side, Control Shift and minus sign. Okay, and then we've got our bulb. Looks like a bulb now. Good. Or a keyhole. I'm going to take it as a bulb. Alright, after this now we're going to create 3 rectangles that are rounded underneath our bulb. So 3 rectangles that are rounded. So we're going to select this circular node, Control Shift again, put it out to make sure that they pull out proportionately. Press S to confirm it. I'm going to duplicate this and then duplicate it once more. On the third duplicate, however, we're going to drag this in. Okay, try and keep it the same shape where you drag, and center it. Good. And try and make the space between them proportionate as best you can. We can adjust this later on, but it's help to do it from early. Okay, so we got our bulb. It's a little bit on the big side, so I'm gonna bring it down slightly, carry this up, and this looks good. This looks like we can move on from here. So we have our bulb. Next we're going to create our outline. I'm going to select D. Actually, I'm just going to press S, and I'm going to hold Shift. Now if you hold Shift while selecting a color, it will use that color for the actual stroke of the item. Right now we don't have a stroke. If you come down here, you see stroke is none. So we're going to add a stroke of gray. I'm going to use the third gray, 80% gray. And we get our stroke. And I want this stroke to be 10. So I'm going to hit Control Shift and F to go to the fill and stroke dialog box. You can go there from Object, Fill and Stroke. And we're going to go to stroke style. Right now mine's on 40, yours may be on a different one. We're going to change this value to 10 though. Alright, I think 10 is good. 10 is good. Then we're going to remove the fill. Awesome. Okay, for these ones, I'm going to hold Shift, select all of them, and we're going to give them a stroke of the same gray. And we're going to change that stroke to 10. Okay, so we have them stroked out. Let's give these a little bit more space, holding Alt. Okay, so we have these out there a bit more spaced. Yeah. Good. So in the order that I have my colors, I'm going to color, close the fill and stroke and the alignment. I'm going to color these boxes. So the first one's already purple, second I'm going to make it blue, and the third I'm going to make it yellow. Right. That looks alright. Okay then. Alright, now we're going to move on to our divisions. So we're going to cut this in divisions. I think it was this direction we cut it from. With your divisions, try to make sure you have enough space to do typing and all the other nice things you would like to do with this infographic. Yes, looks like the middle gets a bit more space. Let's try and make it as equal as possible. I think this is okay. Creating those two paths, we're going to go Control Shift F again into our stroke, change these to 10. Right. And we also want them to have the same ash gray as the other two that we had. So hold Shift and select. Good. Let's zoom up and make sure that they touch the actual lines. Okay, so they're touching the actual lines and we have our divisions looking really nice. Now we have our divisions. Let's go and move into the colors, the exciting part. Okay, so moving on from the colors, we're going to just, in fact, before I even create them, let's just zoom in so we can get this right. We are going to follow the path for the first division best we can, and that will give us the first path. I'm going to fill this in with a color. I want to fill it in with the purple, and I'm going to push it back underneath the stroke. I'm going to do the same for these other divisions, following the path. Don't worry if you mess up a bit, you can always go back and modify the path how you want it. Good, and I'm going to select this blue, down S and bring it underneath our original path. They seem to have strokes on them, so I'm going to get rid of the stroke. Right click, remove stroke. Good, and the last one, let's look at the last one. Scroll down and select the yellow, and that's about it. So we scroll out and our colored bulb is starting to look like a colored bulb. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select these paths. I should have done this first still, and I'm going to go into path, stroke to path, and then I'm going to unify them, holding Control Shift and oops, go again. Control Shift and plus sign. This is so that they can't move. Right, and you notice we have some nodes out of place here. We can always fix this at the end to help us. Always fix these at the end. These are no biggie. Right. Just to help with the smoothness of things, but we'll sort that at the end. Okay, so we have our colors. Okay, I think now we can move on to our icons. So I have my icons down here. As always, you can get them to download. I'm gonna select all three of them, copy. Let's move up, and I'm gonna paste them all here. The first one I'm gonna choose is the rocket. And I'm going to select the two of them. So I'm going to select this color that I created, press Ctrl and D, select the rocket also, hold down Ctrl Shift and star, and that's intersection. Go to path and intersection, I'm gonna select the purple, make sure I'm in my fill and stroke boxes open. I'm gonna go to hue, saturation and lightness, that's HSL, and then I'm going to bring the color down a bit. Good. Also I'm gonna push it down to make sure it's underneath this division. And we're gonna create some clouds. And you can do this with the Bezier tool, but I'm just gonna take it on with this circle tool. And create 3 circles. Then I'm gonna select the 3 of them and unify them. Then I'm going to duplicate this and use the intersection, which is Control Shift and star. And I'm going to carry the color down, carry the saturation down a bit, carry that down a bit more, saturation down a bit more, put it underneath, and just enough so that there's a difference. Perhaps play about with the RGB a bit too, and make it slightly lighter. Okay, it's looking good, and we can bring it down a tad, and let's create some stars. Star 1, star 2. In fact, let's reverse the colors a bit then. Let's see, reverse them and see what happens. Okay, this looks a bit better. This works a bit better. Let's carry this down a bit more, and let's intersect them once again, carry them a bit more. Okay, so we've got some stars. So this is our first illustration, like part of this infographic. And I'm gonna bring this down a bit. Looking okay? Yeah, looking alright. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next one. The next one was our bicycle. I'm gonna just carry it over, size it up, size it down just a little bit more. I think this will do. Duplicate the color that I created before, select the 2 of them, Control Shift and star, which is the same thing as path and intersect. I'm going to select this blue right here and then bring it up slightly so that we can see it. Bring it down. Okay, we've got some things here. We're going to create some more clouds using the circle tool. Push one slightly up, push the other slightly down. So have this, and then we're going to join the bottom of it. So selecting all 4. Whoops, selecting all 4. We get our cloud. We can carry this down ever slightly. Yeah, looks like our cloud. I'm gonna put this up here. I'm gonna change the saturation, increase the bump the lightness, change the RGB to be slightly more on the blue side of things, and we can put them in different places just to add to the randomness of it. Drop this, also decrease the size. Good. Okay, lastly, we're gonna move on to the yellow. I'm gonna use the camera. Put the camera about here. Duplicate, select it, Control Shift and Star to get the intersect. Bring this over into orangey fill on the RGB. Make it lighter. Right. Make it lighter, and then I had I think I had, yeah, as a distortion. I had, yeah, something like this. Gradient here. Select the two, and I had an orangish gradient coming down. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna make this one dark actually. Just due to the yellow being so light in color, let's make it darker. Okay. I think I prefer it darker for true. Okay, so we have them here, and we're gonna add a bit more to it now. Add some gradients to each one of these backgrounds. Selecting it, carrying it down. We're going to select a lighter purple. Bump the opacity up. Purple that's close to the green, make it slightly lighter. Good. For the blue also, let's add a deeper blue. Bump the opacity up. The color shifts help to add dimension to this entire infographic, makes it look nicer in a lot of ways. I'm gonna add an orange, bump that up. Okay, I may just have to make this lighter again. Right. Bring this slightly darker. Okay, so here we have it, our colors and our gradients is looking nice. Alright, let's add our final touches. We're going to have a path coming out here, one coming out here, one coming out at top. Coming out at top. I'm gonna have to change this color, it makes it look a bit too dark. Increase the lightness. Okay. Well, keep it as this for now. Okay, I'm gonna select them and we're gonna make sure it's the same thickness. So we're gonna change the strokes to 10, having all of them selected, pressing Shift and selecting the ash gray that we chose, holding down Shift while selecting it. So make sure that they're touching. Okay, awesome things. Then we're gonna add our title, and we're gonna make that a rounded square. bringing it out here. I'm going to duplicate the canvas and I'm going to intersect it so that we can get our circle. Let's lift our bulb up a little higher too. Good. Then we're going to create some random cuts. Let's fill them with a color so that we can see them. The first word is the longest one, so you want to give that one the most space. Drag it out a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to select these two and cut them. Then we're going to select these two and cut them. We want to make this thing a bit more even. Okay. Alright then. But they're still grouped together, so we have to break them apart. So we're going to go to Path and Break Apart. So they're separate. And we're just going to move them around a bit. Give the first one a purple, the second one a blue, and the third one a yellow. Get rid of the stroke. It's looking alright. Stroke. And then down here we can add colored. Let's just push these out a bit. Now by holding down your left button, you can select individual nodes, and you're going to drag them out by holding Control. So the colored has more space. Let's increase the size of the colored. Change this to light. Control and A. I'm going to type a light. Shift it out. And then lastly, we're going to have bulb. B-U-L-B, bulb. The font that we're going to use is Androgyne. Androgyne. I'll leave that in the blog post. And we're going to change these to white. Let's carry this a bit closer. Colored light bulb. Okay, wonderful. So we have colored light bulb. Take shape. Let's finish it off with the text, the logo, and the background. Now for the background, I created some squares. Good. And I cut the squares in half. Yep. Selecting both of them, Control Shift and minus sign for difference. I reduce the opacity of them and then place them at strategic points in the infographic. Good. And selected different colors for each of them. Okay, they seem a bit random now, but when you put in the text, it'll start to make more sense. So we're going to quickly put in the text. This is 01. Increase the size a little bit. 01. Double click it. 02. And 03. Same out here. 01. Let me bring this down slightly. 02. And carrying this down. 03. Okay, so I'm gonna go down and just add the text. One, 2, and 3. Bring this 3 down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add the text from here. So this is pretty much done. You can see how it all came together. Okay, and last but definitely not least, the logo. Okay. So here it is, our light bulb infographic. I do hope you liked it. Hope you learned something from it. Okay, so there we are. Hope you learned something from it. Again, I'm going to leave a link to the font or the fonts inside the blog post. Please don't be afraid to ask any questions or to send me a message personally. I'll try to get to it. If there's too many messages, then obviously I'll sift through them as best as I can. Also, you'll get the icons in the blog post. So I want you to just take care of yourselves and design a new dawn. Later.